there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, what's up? This is Cristian Machado, formerly of Ill Niño, and your favorite Latin metal dude right here. And you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father. As always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to welcome back my friend, Cristian Machado. He's the co-founder and former lead vocalist of Latin hard rock band Ill Niño. And trust me, you guys do remember them. If you say you don't, go check them out. Anyway, he will release his debut solo album, Hollywood y Sycamore, and I hope I said that correctly, out September 25th on Chesky Records and sub-label Coconut Bay. And also, Cristian has released his new single, Die Alone. And this is a pretty badass song, if you ask me about it. So, Cristian, glad to have you back on my show, my friend. And a lot of things have happened, but hey, more doors have opened for you, my friend. So, how you doing through all this?
Good, man. I'm doing good, trying to hang in there. It's tough for everybody right now, but grateful that, making music, and grateful to be talking to you again, man. It's been way too long, brother.
That's exactly right, dude. That's exactly right. So I'm very excited about this album, especially this single. So how's it been working with Chesky Records and sub-label Coconut Bay? How was working with all these folks on this?
Oh, man, they have been amazing so far. The label manager at Chesky Records, his name is Jeff Lanier. He's really been amazing, and if it weren't for his help, man, I don't know how I would have gotten through some of the obstacles that I had laid out in front of me. But he's been incredibly supportive. He really believes in the project. And for me, it's somewhat of a shock. I'm used to being in a band, as you know. Mm-hmm. And in bands, the decision-making process can get very complicated. It's a lot of people, and sometimes people have different ideas and, different concepts of what things should be. And, I'm really grateful that I got to work on this album with a couple of close friends, Conrado and Steven and Oscar, who used to always play percussion in Ill Niño. And it really was like a simple, it wasn't a stressful experience. If anything, it was a relief to be able to write these songs and go back to, a good, personal, genuine message that perhaps helps me, maybe helps other people out there. But working with Chesky has been amazing. Everything, has been on a good, timely basis. We're trying to, stay on top of all the deadlines and stuff like that, which I'm really not used to. I'm really not used to that. I'm used to things always running late.
That was going to be my next question. How comfortable were you doing a solo album and not having that full band behind you? How nervous were you about putting all this out?
Incredibly nervous, man. I mean, the last couple of weeks, I'm probably like stress eating, just from freaking waiting for the single to come out, not really knowing what people would say. But I knew the song. I know the song is good, and it's a really genuine song. I think it would connect with people. I felt it would connect with people even the day that I wrote it, but nothing in this world is certain, dude. You know how it is. Everything in the music industry is so risky, and it really involves an amazing amount of people. I don't want to say an amount of people, but it really does involve a circle of people around you that really believe and really get it to go out there. Luckily, we got a little bit of time on our hands. The record doesn't come out to September, and we plan to drop a couple singles before then. So given all the closures and everything that's occurred, it's pushed us back a little bit, but they've really been great. And, which is like most people in the world right now, we're trying to get by and make sure that we can, savor the content and put it out appropriately.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making this debut album, Hollywood y Sycamore? And I hope to God I'm pronouncing that correctly, if anything.
One of the most impressive things for sure was the way that we recorded the album, the musicians that were involved. Some of the songs on the album are just, I'm the only musician on them. There's a couple of songs on the album where I'm the only one playing, but most of the other songs on the album have, Oscar playing percussion, Junior, Terry Cabrera, who's an amazing Latin jazz bass player who played bass on it, Ali Bello, who's a Venezuelan violinist who played violin, and then my two good friends, Conrado Pecinato and Stephen Brewer, that played guitar with me on the album. And I think their musicianship really was the most impressive thing, because I went into the album with a label that, they specialize in real, genuine recordings. They don't put out extensive multi-track albums, and they want their musicians to play together. And for me, it was as much of a challenge as much as it was a something to kind of look forward to, a change, if you will. In my last 10 years of recording rock music, I went along with the ways of recording, and I think that there are great advantages to it. But in making acoustic music, I thought that this was as genuine as you could get, really making it somewhat live. The musicians really forced the focus together. The recording was made only with 4 microphones. Everybody had to play perfectly, be sitting perfectly near the microphones. It really took an intense amount of concentration on their part, on my part, on everyone's part. I got birds over here. Hopefully they won't attack me. But it was their intense musicianship, man, that really was impressive to me, and it helped me grow as a musician for sure. Also, the owner of the label, David Chesky, he's like one of the greatest contemporary piano players, on the planet. So it was a surreal experience knowing that I was recording with such a talented musician, and his bar of what really is good is so high that, I really admired that.
And you've been doing this for a long time, and working with people that's like-minded, what you're wanting to put out, and plus being in a bubble of comfort, as I should say, it makes everything flow so much better. And when the music has feeling, if that makes sense. You should know that, what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, absolutely. And it took, when we first started recording the first day, the rehearsals, we weren't really putting in that focus. I think everybody was just making sure everyone knew the parts and we didn't have any mistakes in there. And it took about a half a day for everybody to really sink in and to really bring the chemistry into it. And I mean, a lot of people in music lose faith in the chemistry, and I think that this gave me a little bit of newfound faith in when musicians really interact with each other, and on a creative level, they have to focus and really put in all their intense thought and emotion and focus into playing parts of music. I think it adds to the quality of it, if you ask me. I know that back in the day when nu metal began, Russ Robinson was very well known for doing very raw recordings, live recordings. They would do minimal overdubbing. And this wasn't too far from that. It's just that we didn't, for example, on a Ross Robinson Korn album, they would use, I don't know, anywhere between 24 and 48 microphones. We minimized the microphone amount, and it taught me a lot, man, for sure.
Damn, I didn't know that they used that many microphones on a Korn album. Jeez almighty.
Yeah, and for back in the day, that's not a lot, actually.
Jeez,
because
I did not know that.
Ross Robinson was, and Ross Robinson was a minimalist in recording, so some albums, like the Metallica Black album might have had 200 tracks on it.
How long did it take to write and complete this album? Have you been sitting on it for a while now, possibly, before these songs seen the light of day?
Well, the demos, I started doing the demos to the songs here in Temecula, in June of last year, maybe June, or I want to say maybe May, somewhere around there. And I had pretty much all the songs written sometime around September. I had all the songs written. Some songs didn't make it on the album. You know, there's some like leftover stuff. But and then we went to New York City to record in November. We recorded in November. We had the album done, you know, by like the mix and mastered. It was, I don't know, at the turn of the year, very early at the turn of the year. And we definitely we've been sitting on it for a little bit, you know, but I think we were lucky in that we didn't put the record out and then this occurred. You know, we were kind of setting everything up, and then there was some footwork put into it, which I feel terrible about, you know, on like the labels end and on booking agents end and stuff like that. And some things had to be moved, but we were very lucky that we didn't like put the record out and then the week after this occurred.
Speaking of songs that didn't make this album, are there any that we could see down the road on another EP or a full length from you possibly that didn't make this one?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I plan on making, and hopefully people will accept this and, you know, welcome it, and it'll hopefully give me a chance to continue making acoustic albums. I do plan on playing heavy music eventually again, but I think that me and Aru and Diego, which are the members we departed together, I think that we just want to make sure that whatever we're going to do it right, and it's really going to be unique and on a new plateau, perhaps. But I hope to make more acoustic music eventually, for sure. You know, I don't know if that'll occur. You know, everything is so uncertain that all you could do is just put music out there, hope everything goes good, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I know these are your babies, and I know these are very hard to choose from, but any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on this album?
Well, Die Alone definitely feels like a great, what's the right word? It sums the record very well with the emotion and intention. My favorite song on the album, I think, might be Good Mother. It's a song that was written. It's the one song we collaborated, that Conrado and Steven collaborated with me on. And it really is a dedication to mothers, you know? I mean, my mother, throughout my young years, wasn't too supportive of the music, but she was really just looking out for me, didn't want me to get drugged down the wrong avenue. And really, I mean, she's been like my shining light in many situations. And I think that Steven and Conrado feel similar about that. Well, it's probably my favorite song, Good Mother. We would have loved to have had it out for Mother's Day, but, you know, we're in the waiting room still.
I'll say this right now, and I'm not taking any away from the interview, but if you have a mother that loves you unconditionally, that supports you in every way, shape, form, or fashion, and even though it's wrong of something that you want to pursue, you know, and they still support you, or you have a stepmother that steps in and takes over that role, thank your blessings, man, and count your blessings, because it's very hard to still have that these days. And it's so sad that I see so many sons and mothers and daughters who just hate each other and can't stand each other. And that bothers me. I just don't see it. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, no, I was very lucky, man, to have a great family. I mean, I have nothing to complain about. If anything, I was a total asshole in my youth because I had a great family, but, you know, I was still a rebel, and my way of coping with having a great family, instead of nurturing that, was to go seek out the yang in my yin and, you know, seek people who, you know, were toxic and, you know, are not supportive. I don't know, you know, but I've been very blessed with an amazing family, man. And you're right. Anybody who's got a good family behind them, you gotta count that blessing, man. Because there are a lot of people out there who really don't have anybody to turn to, and even people that have lost family and no longer have their family, you know. And it isn't a situation anybody wants to be in. It's a situation. Definitely losing my mother is a situation that every day I'm terrified of.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't think about it every day, I'm still, you know, every other day I'm thinking of it and being terrified about it.
Yeah, I lost my dad 21 years ago, and there's not a day that goes by, and I have my dark days when that happened. And I still struggle sometimes, but I keep looking on the bright side that I still have my mom, you know, and so I thank God that I have that, and I can still take care of her. There's blessing in disguises.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Was it hard to choose between the current set of songs? Which one would be the first single you wanted to release for the album, or was it hands down Christian Die Alone?
I personally was kind of like up in the air between this and a couple of songs. I know that there's a couple of songs on the album that are really good singles. This felt like the most stripped down version, very genuine. There's no other musicians on it other than the percussion. So I think it felt like this is a good way to introduce this thing that I'm doing now. You know, not this like big band atmosphere or a ton of musicians, but just put out there a song that, you know, I was, you know, one of the only players on, and the other songs have a little bit more instrumentation, but I was up in the air between like Die Alone, another song called Better You Know, another song, Good Mother, and Bring You Home. But I think, you know, sometimes you got to kind of just step away from the music and let people around you also have an insight on it. And that was incredibly helpful, of course.
Now, I still want to talk about the single Die Alone, and I quote, "It's a love song, but one stitched together from suffering, heartbreak, and a search for meaning and growth in the face of pain, loss, and unimaginable challenges." Is this for you just a sum-up song for the whole world, or just a sum-up song for everybody that has gone through something like this to overcome it?
It sums how I felt, for sure. The last couple of years have been incredibly challenging for me personally, not just on a musical or business end of things, but also on a family end of things. You know, I went through a family separation and had to go to custody court to get custody of my kid and things like that. So it wasn't, you know, this is a song really of, and just like you stated, I think it's from a quote from another article, but it really is that, you know, it's a song that came out of a feeling of pain and resentment, but also an acceptance of having to let go, of feeling, of finally accepting you're not in control of everything, you know? So that's why the song has this disparity about it where, you know, the feeling is, you know, is this it? Is this really it? Sometimes humans can feel like that when a lot of things are up against you or feel challenging. It could feel like things are not going to get better, but in my situation, you know, I was also very lucky, like I said, to have family to help me through it and also friends to help me through it. And I think that probably adds to a positive disparity within the feelings in the song, where it's a very sad song and it comes from a lot of pain, but there is hope behind it. And I think, you know, without my friends and my family, I think the song would have probably just been a completely sad song with nothing positive to think about. But, you know, I've always tried to keep a positive outlook on things despite my love for creating, you know, very eclectic, sad music.
Writing these new songs, does it still challenge you, or do you feel like it's getting more easier, if that makes sense, possibly?
With age, it gets easier knowing what is good. That's for sure. But it's still challenging picking the right thing to develop. You know, I have a lot of musical ideas, and I could sit down and I don't know, I know chord structures really well, so I could sit down and I know melody well. I could sit down and write 4 or 5 songs in one day if I wanted to, but I'm very picky with what it is that I decide to take to the microphone, you know, and actually put feeling behind it. With this album, I wrote a bunch of songs. Some of them got put on the back burner, but most of them felt really good from the beginning. You know, it's not like I'm like reinventing a huge wheel here. It's just I'm playing, you know, songs that have chord structures that really affect me. And then I guess in that comes out a little bit of emotion, but it's not, I don't look at it as complicated what I'm doing. You know, I'm not trying to reinvent anything. Mm-hmm. It really is just about the craft of the song with this album.
And I mentioned this earlier, folks. The album was produced by David Chesky and Lanier of Chesky Records. Working with these guys, did they get something out of you, possibly, Christian, that maybe somebody else may not have gotten, possibly?
Without a doubt. Absolutely. I mean, having been put into a situation where you're performing everything with musicians together, not just taught me about myself musically and about the things that I could expand on and have some growth on, but it also taught me discipline, you know, discipline in the message of the song, And it gave me faith. Like I said earlier, it gave me faith in the chemistry of musicians that there is such a thing still. It's just you really have to click with people. You really have to focus, and you have to allow everything to stay outside the room. And that's very hard to do nowadays. Mm-hmm. It is extremely hard for musicians because we're like phones, computers, family, the whole thing. But it gave me faith that great musicians can put all of that to the side, step into a recording studio, and for an entire day, 2 days, 3 days, however long it is you be in the studio. But it gave me faith that this still exists, that we don't have to depend on like multi-tracking. It's a great ability to have that, but they showed me a different side of music that I thought I maybe had lost, even though our first Ill Niño album was recorded a lot was recorded live. Most of it was overdubbed, but it brought me back a little bit to my musical infancy, if you will.
And I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but this is like a breath of fresh air for you. It's like you can do your own thing. I mean, I know you want the band there, but I think this is another door that's open for you to take advantage of. Yeah,
absolutely. I've always wanted to expand on the songwriting, element of the creative things that I put out. And I think it was, this occurred at the right time. And I think that I definitely had a lot to say with everything that's been occurring in my personal life the last couple of years. It was the right time to definitely speak genuinely and without throwing anybody under the bus, obviously.
Right. And you did it the right way. I mean, there's no sense of dragging dirt and throwing dirt. I mean, it's just stupid. It's just no way, just let it go,
Yeah. And I'm terrible at staying mad at people or being upset at situations, because there really is no use in that. You can't change the past. All you could do is just learn from mistakes you made and move forward.
Who came up with the idea for the cover for the album? Because I think it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. That was a piece of art that was put forward by Jeff Lanier at the label. Mm-hmm. Who he really is attached to the project, more than I've ever seen any other label manager be attached to a project. And I think he, having been a rock and roller, back in the day, and, having moved into the music industry part of things with a more multi-genre kind of label, I think he definitely gets the essence of what it is I'm doing. Not one moment have we ever had an argument about what something should look like. Usually we agree if something doesn't sound a particular way and should change. We always usually agree on things. And I think it was something put forward by him. He had this really intense idea that this could make a great image to go along with the single. And we kind of just ran with it. Mm-hmm. I have him to thank for that, for sure. I don't know I'm sure the cover would have been something cool regardless, but he really helped me greatly be able to attach a visual to the first single.
What do you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope they hear while listening to any of your music that's getting ready to come out, or Die Alone single that's out right now? What do you hope that they take away from all this?
The most important thing, I imagine, would be, to enjoy the things that are right in your life. Just like the song says, sometimes, and it's not that this is factual, but life can sometimes feel like there's more wrong than there is right. But it really, I think that is because we don't allow ourselves to genuinely take in, the things that are right in our life. And what I've been seeing, man, that's really brought so much happiness for me to see, and it's so rewarding, have been people posting the song on IG story with like pictures of them just like having a beautiful day with their family, or laying in their bed looking up at the ceiling, or at a winery drinking wine with friends. And it really just made me feel like, wow, maybe this song can connect on just a life level. Maybe people will take it in on a normal being, on a level of just being a human being, and not just so much musical and things divided by genres and stuff like that.
What can fans expect at a show from you when you take this out on the road, when we're able to get back out to some normalcy? What are they going to get, Cristian, when they come to see you live?
man, hopefully the one thing that I hope everyone can take away from the shows, at least that this is what I've been trying to work on and plan on, is a huge, intense rush of emotions, both happy and incredibly sad. And I realized that my music on this album is pretty fucking deep, and it hits. Let's say that it can stab hard if you're going through some serious shit in your life. The songs on this album can make some people, without a doubt, cry. And I've heard that before from friends. But the one thing I think to take away is this huge, intense rush of emotions. That's what I'm trying to focus on, you know, keeping it focused on the music. How is that going to impact the listener in a venue? Having the right lighting, having the right mood. And then I realized that the content is very deep. So in between songs, I am going to make I'm going to put a foot forward to try to have people laugh and smile. And I'm also going to be telling some stories in between songs. I want to bring a little bit of a life element to the show. I don't want it to just be about listening to music and, you know, that's all you get out of it. You went and listened to some songs and that was it. I really want people to connect and let go of whatever it is that they have going on in their lives when they leave the show.
I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but since almost everyone is in quarantine and everybody's getting back out just a little bit and everything's opening up now from this coronavirus, do you think concerts, festivals will have the same impact as before with sales and attendance? Or do you think this has hurt it in the long run?
Well, no, I don't. It won't hurt it in the long run because concerts and attendances, many of them, at least, you know, in the pop world, sometimes in the rock world, depending on the band, is driven by the youth. And I'm going to tell you right now, the youth don't give a fuck about this shit.
No,
you know,
no,
the youth don't really care about this shit. Yeah, they don't give a shit about it. And I get it. You know, because when I was a kid, I was naive too. And I was ignorant too. So I get it. But I don't think it's going to change too much other than older people are going to realize what this really is and that we should be careful with certain things. But I think attendances at shows, maybe we can expect to see a drop in older demographics. But people that are still drawing, you know, the youth to their concerts, I would imagine this concerts to still be full. I don't know that they'll return immediately. We have a tour that we're planning. We're booking right now for September, October for the U.S. I don't know that they'll allow all the venues to open, but, you know, I think that a lot of people are doing an amazing job behind the scenes trying to stitch together the industry again, because the touring industry has completely taken a massive hit, you know, so there's a lot of work being put in behind the scenes, and hopefully we'll get back some shows sooner than later. But as far as the youth going to shows, I think they're always going to be there. The youth I don't think the youth care about what is occurring with this kind of, you know, sickness.
Since the single Die Alone has been out, have you seen a country or a location that shocked you possibly that's gave support to this single and what you're doing so far? Have you seen anything that's kind of stuck out there for you maybe?
The response has been amazing from everywhere. You know, I don't think I've heard really anything negative. Maybe one person, you know, said it could have been more like my older band, but I expect that, you know. I would say 90% of the people that heard the song really like it. You know, I'm very grateful for that.
And I know you had a lot of songs and a lot of albums when you were younger, but did you have that one go-to album or song that just allowed you to escape or made you feel like everything was going to be better possibly?
Sure, Tool Anima.
Oh, there we go.
The Tool Anima album. I throw that album on and forget about it. Life goes away. Not goes away, but at least it gives you a moment of clarity. You know, that was like the one album. And before that, I had other albums, you know, that I enjoyed a lot. But that's the one true constant that has stuck with me into my 40s is the Tool Anima album. It's one album I can put on any time. And really, I don't know if it just connects with me or because I'm conditioned to like a particular kind of style of music. That's what I like. But I'd like to think it's, you know, it's music on a higher vibration, hopefully.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up Cristian Machado's new solo debut album, Hollywood y Sycamore, coming out September 25th on Chesky Records and sublabel Coconut Bay. Also pick up Cristian's new single, Die Alone. I'm not saying this just because Cristian's on here. It's great music from him. Please support him and continue to do so. Cristian, how can folks stay in touch with you, buy some merchandise, tour dates when all this gets back to normalcy? How can they do that, good sir?
Well, definitely look out for the single. Go to whatever your streaming platform is. Just type in Cristian Machado and you'll be able to find the single. You could find, we'll probably be coming out with some tour dates, hopefully in June and July, if this all can go the right way and you know, they can allow us to get back to work, I suppose, or take away the quarantine. We'll be shooting an official music video for the song, for Die Alone, sometime in June. Unfortunately, because of all the closures, we weren't able to get studio availability, and they're now starting to let the studios open up in California again. So we'll be shooting a music video for Die Alone. In a couple of weeks, we're going to release a lyric video for it. You could go to Bandware, shop.bandware.com/Cristian Machado, or just go to shop.bandware.com and type my name into the search bar and the store will come up. And if you want to find me on social media, you can go on Twitter, I'm The Real C Machado, and on Instagram, The Real Cristian Machado, and on Facebook and YouTube, you could find me as Cristian Machado Official.
Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for the show?
Hey, what's up? This is Cristian Machado, formerly of Ill Niño, and your favorite Latin metal dude right here, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. Please get out, check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link and every link that we are associated with. And trust me, we're on every platform out there just about. Hopefully we'll be doing some live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all kinds of stuff, hopefully coming down the barrel very soon. Please get out and support Cristian and pick up his new album that's coming out on September 25th, Hollywood y Sycamore. And please, folks, do this for me. Cristian, as always, I love you, my man. Stay safe and rock out for me, and you're welcome on here anytime, as always.
Thank you for having me on, my brother. And I look forward to touching base. Maybe when I get back out on the road, we can do another one and touch base again.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.